Well, the England football squad have arrived in Qatar ahead of the World Cup, which starts on Sunday. The Wales squad will arrive later tonight. They may have arrived already in the past few minutes. Well, of course, the tournament in Qatar has been controversial from the off, mostly because of the country's human rights record, with additional concerns about the treatment of migrant workers brought in to build venues. A BBC investigation has uncovered new evidence of mistreatment, but the government of Qatar says it's committed to the health and safety of workers, and that is beyond question. Our South Asia correspondent, Rajini Vaidyanathan, reports now from Nepal, the homeland of many of the migrant workers.
An unexpected goodbye. Villagers in Gol Bazaar carry a heavy burden. Performing the last rites for Umesh Kumar Yadav. He was 32. In Nepali tradition, a son lights his father's funeral pyre. 13-month-old Shashank is carried by his grandfather. Umesh worked as a labourer in Qatar in the final weeks before the World Cup. He regularly shared TikTok videos of the dormitory where he lived and the construction sites where he worked. A day after this video was filmed, Umesh died. His cousin Lakshman has just returned to Nepal from Qatar, where he also worked. He rushed to the site as soon as he heard Umesh had died.
4 of us went to ask what happened. They told us Umesh was taking the scaffold lift up. When it touched something and broke, he fell down.
This was where it happened. The company said their site was safe and that Umesh's death was due to his own negligence and recklessness. Umesh's father sold some of his buffalo to pay for his son to go to Qatar. Here, life is tough. So too is death. A family now without a son, father and breadwinner.
My son is gone. We used the money he sent us to pay for our loans and for our children's education. Now we don't have any money. I'm not sure what we are going to do.
The southeast rural belt of Nepal is one of the poorest areas in one of the poorest countries. Opportunities scarce. Hundreds of thousands have left these districts for Qatar since it was awarded the World Cup. As part of our investigation, we've looked at a number of death certificates going back about 6 years of workers who've died in Qatar, not just from here in Nepal, but also India and Bangladesh. And on a number of them, we've seen a similar cause of death: multiple blunt injuries due to fall from height. We've spoken to some of the families who believe that these deaths are down to workplace safety not being adequate. Siddesh Mandal went to Qatar 4 years ago. He was building infrastructure as the country prepared for the tournament. Siddesh was due to visit his family here in Nepal on the 12th of October. 4 days earlier, they received a call telling them he died at work.
He was working 7 feet below ground when heavy debris fell on him and he was crushed. His friend, who was also in Qatar, told me. I wouldn't have known otherwise.
Krishna, have you received any compensation or the offer of any money from the company?
Nothing.
No. We contacted the company Siddesh worked for, but they didn't respond. So how do so many young men from South Asia end up working in Qatar? Well, often they're recruited by agents who offer them well-paid jobs in exchange for money to get them a visa to go there. The men are then passed from contract to contract, which means that their families often don't know which companies they're working for and who to go to for compensation when things go wrong. 1 million miles from here, the world's biggest football tournament will soon begin. Qatar's government maintains it's committed to the dignity and safety of workers on all of its projects. But some of the young men who left these districts say their experiences off the pitch tell a very different story. Rajini Vaidyanathan, BBC News, Nepal.